Wednesday, July 9th. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus. It's awesome to have you here today. As always, we're brought to you by Ike Sandwiches, our good friends at the Dubliner. And oh boy, what a game last night. There's not a lot of regular season games where I'll be able to bring up how it ended to you for the rest of your life. You'd be like, yeah, I remember that one. I think everybody who was watching is going to remember something that was downright historic last night, because an inside the park walk-off home run is a rare thing. When you attach it to a catcher, it becomes incredibly rare. You know, one of the great things about baseball is there's literally nothing that can happen in the game that hasn't happened before. Everything that has ever happened in baseball, it's happened at some point in time in the sport's history, guaranteed just about every time. It is rare where you stumble across that's never happened before. So whenever you get to that's never happened before in a single digit, that's pretty special. It really, really is. First of all, Patrick Bailey became the third catcher in Major League history to hit a walk-off inside the park home run for the Giants last night in a win over the first place Phillies. It was an awful lot of fun. It was a great ending to an otherwise normally one run, just a small handful of hits, frustrating Giants afternoon. That was pretty damn good the way that it ended. It really did. Jeff Passan says that's the first walk-off inside the park home run by a catcher since 1926. You know, I mean, that's like 100 years ago. So that was history last night. And look, neither Nick Castellanos or Brandon Marsh played the Kareem very well off the wall. And I've seen some people making fun of them. I've seen Philly radio hosts like saying, how are you playing that ball off the wall? Let me tell you, that's not something that you can practice anywhere but in San Francisco, because that ball leaves every major league ballpark but for the one it was hit in just last night. That clears the wall. That is an outside the park home run in 29 other major league stadiums, but only Oracle Park, 24 Willie Mays Plaza would have actually held it. The ball careens way off the top of the arcade and basically bounces all the way through the remaining gap in right field, all the way through center field, out to left field, basically. And Patrick Bailey just put his head down and chugged. He really did. He put his head down and he chugged. He got home. Good for him. Good for the Giants. And what can I tell you? The Giants have a chance to sweep the Phillies this afternoon. We'll see if they can do it. It would be amazing if Justin Verlander's first win in a San Francisco Giants uniform would come today. He is 0 for 6 with a 4.97 ERA, and he's just been hittable. He hasn't gotten like rocked or embarrassed, but he's hittable. He's not nearly who he used to be, and he's certainly not who the Giants signed him hoping he would be. But right now, Justin Verlander has a chance to win a baseball game and go home with Kate Upton. And if the first place Phillies lose this baseball game, they will have officially been swept and they will go home with Broomhilda. Verlander, you get to go home with Kate Upton. Phillies, they go home with Broomhilda if swept today by the San Francisco Giants. So we'll see if it will happen. And look, you know, there's not a lot of shows where we begin with a baseball topic, a regular season baseball topic. But that was good enough last night to basically nuke this live stream before it even begins, knowing that just the hint of baseball means fewer people are going to click on it than ever. But that was the lead story in my life. And since this is my channel, I guess we're going to go with the lead story in my life. Let's get to the best sandwich in my life, in your life, in all our lives, and that's Ike's. Get yourself to Ike's for a delicious sandwich. I hope you do it today. I hope you redeem that free $4 that he put in there over the 4th of July weekend. I think today is your last day to use that. So check out You Love Rewards member, ordering from Ike's today. You've got a discount just built right in. And I'm telling you, if there isn't an Ike's near you, I hope there will be one soon. The sandwiches are delicious. The business model is fantastic. And Ike himself is a person. It's just a super guy. He really, really is. So thanks to him for being the premier sponsor here of Damon Bruce Plus and our good friends at the Dubliner. We see you and we love you all the time. Dubliner West Portal in San Francisco, phenomenal bar. Get yourself there. Say hi to Kenny and John. I don't know where you're going to watch this afternoon's Giants game. I don't know where you're going to watch. We got 60 days till the 49ers are kicking off in Seattle. I don't know where you're going to watch week 1 up in Seattle. The Dubliner would be a great place to do that. Your sporting events, your good times, your get-togethers, your hangouts, bring it to the Dubliner and have any food you want delivered, especially in Ike's, right to you there at the Dubliner. They will not mind at all. Good people, great bar. Speaking of good people hanging out at the bar, look at you. I see all the regulars in here. Valve Oil, that was so lit last night. Wasn't that fun? Yeah, that was a fun one, wasn't it? It is Humo Day. You're right, Nathaniel Richards. Happy Humo Day to all who observe. The Phillies did look dejected. I know they were really upset about a strike zone the night before. So that's rough. But Valkyries playing what, like a matinee today? Yeah, how are the Valkyries playing so early? What's going on? Okay, good for the Valkyries. More importantly, like and sub. By the way, I like the new, bigger, popped up bubble. I did nothing to change the settings. This is just an upgrade. I like it. I like it. Look at Red Jet. You never look better there. Hey, Otis. Good to see you. Look how big your face is now, Otis. I love this. We get to know everybody. The Pinball Wizard. Yeah, that is that really was a big bouncer last night. That game went on tilt when it was all said and done. What else we got here? Somebody wants to talk about Mexican floodings. We're just going to put you in a timeout. You don't seem to be sincere. That was terrible what happened in Texas, and it felt avoidable. But we're not going to get into that, are we? No. Again, what is this person doing? Ian, go out and touch some grass, buddy. It's not what we're talking about here, okay? Thanks very much. So anyways, look, it is really good to have you here today. It was really good to see Giants fans get to leave the park happy last night. And today, if they get a sweep over the first place Phillies, that would be the perfect way to roll into what is going to be a tough one against the Dodgers right around the corner. So you want all the vibes you got going into that Dodger game. There's no doubt about that. Like I said, we got 60 days until kickoff in Seattle. No real news at all coming around the 49ers. It is the calm before the storm as we see it right now. I did see this, though, that NFL sack leading odds going into the 25 season. Aiden Hutchinson leading the NFL at plus 500. Micah Parsons is plus 600. Myles Garrett's plus 600. TJ Watt, 750 for a guy who's not even in Pittsburgh yet. That's good odds, I guess. And Nick Bosa is plus 1,000 to lead the NFL in sacks once again. So we'll see what kind of year Nick Bosa has, but he is a betting favorite in that department. And look, if the young Bucks who are going to be playing next to him, and there's going to be young Bucks playing next to him all season long. This is a revamped, rebuilt, reinvested in 49ers defensive line. If the young Bucks aren't out there getting it done, it's going to be hard for Nick Bosa to get it done. Sip of the day on the money today. It really is. So, speaking of the NFL, one of the best analysts out there, Warren Sharp, one of my favorites. We were supposed to tape something today. He had to push back. We are going to be taping with Warren tomorrow. So that video will be coming out shortly. And I hope you plan on checking it out because that's one of the smartest guys in the room. And I'm excited to get him on. And I'm sure Larry and I will be talking about it on Friday as well. So make sure you stick around for the Warren Sharp video that we got coming out pretty soon. You know, it's funny. I guess the Valkyries were out there. All right. Okay. The Valkyries were already playing today. Okay. It's funny. I actually had them on the list of things that I wanted to talk about today. But as always, it's really not the basketball that I'm interested in. It's the way that they deal with the media It's the way that they deal with Caitlin Clark, who, should be nothing but a windfall of success for them, yet they've turned to her into a bit of a burden as well. It's really, really weird. But I just saw, and I think you saw it too, that even though the WNBA might not know how to handle the media, boy, they sure know how to handle banking right now, because the banking that the WNBA does is pretty special, considering I don't even know if they're profitable, but they're doing a lot of banking, and the investment that Joe Lacob made in giving life to the Golden State Valkyries has already paid off tremendously. Lacob bought the right to have a team called the Valkyries in 2023. He spent $50 million to go ahead and buy into the WNBA. They've already 10x that value, again, before the end of their first season on the court here. Right now, the Valkyries, according to Sportico, are valued at $500 million, $500 million, the most ever for a women's sports franchise. SF Standard writes, this cleared the previous standard bearer, the New York Liberty, which checked in at about a $420 million valuation. It also soared above the Indiana Fever's $335 million, which was an increase of 270%. That's the business that Caitlin Clark has done with them. But the Valkyries, they don't have a signature star yet. They haven't even made it through one season yet, and they're already the WNBA's most valuable team. Now, I got to question that number. Are they really today, if you sold them, worth $500 million? The answer is no way. Because if I sold you the Valkyries, but you don't get Chase Center, they're not worth $500 million. If you don't have them actually attached to a huge real estate property in San Francisco, their valuation tumbles. And it's not like you can really separate one from the other. But if you did, Chase Center is worth more than the Valkyries in this valuation right now. I really do believe that. But it is an extraordinary, jump from 50 million the day that they were born to 500 million, and you haven't even made it through season one. That's incredible. They were the first WA expansion franchise since 2008, and because of that and their success, we already got 4 more now planned and coming. What, Portland, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Detroit are all going to be getting WNBA franchises. So that's the business that the WNBA is doing. I don't know if it's profitable business, but investment business. There's a reason why the rich and the smarts are buying in right now. There really is. So very impressed by all of the numbers around the Valkyries. I really don't think I'm that interested in watching them play basketball, to be totally honest with you. I think that I could get the Reardon JV team out on the court and beat the Valkyries by 15. But, if that's for you, I'm not here to steal your thunder. I'm not here to rob you of any excitement that you might have for the Valkyries. If that's your cup of tea, drink it all. God bless. There's one thing I'm sure about in San Francisco is you can be whoever you want to be. And not wanting to be a fan of the WNBA is an option that I'm still exercising. But they certainly have me talking about them. I'll say that. Yeah, Chase is a cash cow for the Warriors and now the Valkyries. I wish I could go there more often. Yeah, I think we all wish we could go there a little more often. Look, I used to love walking in there for free 100 nights a year almost. It's harder to do that now than ever before. So, yeah, I'm going to Chase Center much less than I used to when I had a press pass just waiting for me anytime I want. Well, I didn't have it waiting for me. I had it dangling around my neck at all times. I can still get in there anytime I send an email. But, again, I'm not trying to cozy up and suck up to something that I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm glad that it's a great vibe in there. I'm glad that people are excited to be in there. I've watched a little bit on TV. Anyone who's arguing that that's great basketball, okay. If you think so, I'm glad you enjoy it. Red Jet. Damon's our asshole. I said what I said. Yeah, that's I'm who you need. I'm who you need. Gonna be, look at it this way. I'll never lie to you. Never ever lie to you. Chef A, glad to see Giants coming around, but Devers, I hope he comes around. Yeah. Not only is Devers really important to the Giants in this season, but him continuing to be as good of a major league hitter in this ballpark is a huge canary in the coal mine for future free agency. Remember, Devers was traded for. They still cannot sign a single free agent hitter of import. They just can't. And if Rafael Devers' numbers go in the tank, I don't know if they ever will be able to. And Patrick Bailey's just going to have to continue hitting him off the top of the arcade for game-winning inside the park walk-off home runs as often as he possibly can. It definitely is the dead time of year in terms of what's going on in sports. Again, the dwindling first half of the regular season for baseball is happening right now. Summer League is around us. I guess the Valkyries tipped off at 9 a.m. today. If that floats your boat, congratulations. You had a little something there. We got the American Century Championship in Tahoe this coming up weekend, that big golf pro-am reach around that's become. It's the biggest pro-am I think there is right now with athletes. It's certainly bigger than the Pebble Beach pro-am, which dives still more into Hollywood. But in terms of athletes showing up, I don't think anything's bigger than this American Century Championship. Steph Curry is holed and won up there. He's held court up there. I believe he's also won the tournament up there. Tony Romo has won the tournament 3 times in his pro-am, and he's still the odds-on favorite among former pro football players. Tony Romo up there. Adam Thielen, I guess, is a really good golfer. He's in the top 15. But you can get odds 40-1 on Matt Ryan, 55-1 on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers got a better chance to win this golf tournament than he probably does an NFL playoff game at this point in his career. Derek Carr, 100-1. He's been looking at those odds his entire life. Sam Darnold, 135-1 up at the American Century. So good luck to Sam Darnold. It's a parade of bad podcast recordings, softball interviews, pretend friendships, and driving range hangovers. So, every other weekend in Tahoe, I guess, is what's going on this weekend up at the American Century. I actually heard it's a great venue. It's a great setup. Everyone who goes keeps on coming back. So they're clearly doing something right up there. I wish I were up there. I'd be totally honest with you. I think I'm a little jealous. That'd be fun. But I've got no time to go up there. I've got kids, and I have something else that I'm really, really worried about, and that's where we're going to end today's show, and I want you to be worried about this too. First of all, let me get another sip here. Hold on. Eat at Ike's, drink at the Dubliner, have good coffee. The concept of perfect, it almost doesn't even exist. The concept of perfect, when you actually turn something from a concept to this is really perfect, the only thing you can do is not mess with it. It's the only correct way to handle something that is perfect, something that we all agreed upon. This is perfect. And in sports, there is truly only one perfect, democratic, wonderful thing. And it's the NCAA tournament. Now, I'm talking about the men's NCAA tournament, but I'm also talking about the women's NCAA tournament because where one goes, the other follows. And we're talking about format. And all the grand poobahs who make decisions around the tournament are meeting in Savannah, Georgia this week. And by the end of this week, if some have their way, they will have tinkered with perfect. You don't tinker with perfect. Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated says the vandals in charge of college sports are at it again. Spray paint cans in hand. They're standing in front of the Mona Lisa right now, ready to deface their masterpiece a little bit more. They're thinking of expanding the NCAA tournament. They're thinking of expanding it to, 72 or 76 teams. And the argument that they're using is there's more teams playing, which means we need to let more teams in. And no, you do not. No, you don't. The NCAA tournament actually does begin before the NCAA tournament begins. There's something called college basketball's regular season, and then there are postseason conference tournaments. All of those postseason conference tournaments feed directly into the NCAA tournament. So the secret that they don't want to share with you is that there already is like a 300-team tournament, but by the time we lean forward and lean in to see the final remaining 64 teams, now 68 with the first four, not just the final four, but now you get the first four, which is expansion enough. Like first four, fine. You want to leave the first four there? Fine. But let's be honest, the first four doesn't feel like the NCAA tournament. It's when games start on that Thursday morning that you feel like you're in the NCAA tournament. 40 continues. This potential crime against sporting art is offensive mathematically, geometrically, intellectually, and dare I say ethically. It's a tipping point scam, unpopular enough to potentially break bonds between the paying public and the product. In other words, we love the tournament just the way it is. There's something so special about being able to see it all in a bracket that we're familiar with and in a world where everything in college athletics is unfamiliar, including the teams we root for, including the conferences that they're a part of, including the fact, does this conference even really exist anymore, including the transfer portal, including NIL. There's been so much radical change around all college sports that keeping the one thing that we all agree that's perfect, I would do that. I would do that if I were the NCAA. We'll see if they're smart enough to do that. The problem is, though, is that the only way that people on top think about anything is not, is this perfect? Is it working? It's how can we get more money out of it? How can we wring another drop, another dollar out of something that is already, whenever we reach over and wring it out, billions of dollars point out. But if I could have $1,000,000,001, it'd be better than $1 billion. Even though everyone would be upset, $1,000,001 is more than $1 billion. So who cares who gets upset if we're making one more dollar? And that's how it feels when it comes to college so often these days. If members of the committee, writes Pat 40, go this route, they deserve the blowback they get. So do the conference commissioners prodding them, the twitchy athletic directors scourging for more revenue, scrounging for the shameless coaches hoping for an easier path to bonuses and job security. Shame on all of you. In a 72 or 76 team field, the extra teams will overwhelmingly be the dregs of the top 5 conferences, the SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big East. It's not like they're going to open the floodgates to let more Cinderella stories into the picture. No. They're going to open the floodgates to let more don't deserve to be here major conference teams come in to make even more money in an already money is way too much your Jesus world of college athletics that we're living in. It's seriously something. Again, how could you ruin it? By messing with it. It's perfect. It's perfect the way it is. We're all familiar with it. We all like it. We all vote yes on it. It's not just the guy who went to the alma mater. It's not just the guy who is a fan of the team. It's the janitor. It is the secretary. It is the person who works overnight in security who you've never met. Everybody fills out a bracket. Everybody knows how to do it. It's participation. It's easy. It's tradition. Don't go messing with it. I seriously mean that. Don't go messing with it. The last thing that 40 writes that I'm going to share with you, and boy, I hope you hit like and subscribe during this segment of the show right now. You should like all of this, maybe more than anything else. If there were a group conscience guiding college sports, the following things would all be true. Again, if it were conscience, if it were reasonable people who liked college sports and tradition, and not just money grabs and network executives making decisions, the following four things would be true. Number one, the Pac-12 would still be alive. Number two, there would be no scheming to secure multiple automatic bids for some conferences in college football's new playoff. Number three, new rules created via a federal mandate might stand a chance of functioning before stakeholders sabotage them. And number four, the best single competition in college sports, March Madness, would be protected and maintained in its best form, not crassly manipulated to wringing a few more bucks out of NCAA media partners. Amen, church, tabernacle, priest, rabbi. Thank you. That is religion right there. Don't mess with something that's perfect. This really would be painting a mustache on the Mona Lisa. Even Joan and Payroll fills out a bracket. Thank you, SF Indigo. You're right about that. Chef A, love of money is the root of all evil. I mean, it feels like it's a big part of it at all times. It really does. Otis is right. He says the Pac-12 will come back, but it won't be the same. It's going to be so different. It's going to be so odd that I don't even think you should call it the Pac-12 anymore. It's not the Pac-12. I think calling it the Pac-12 is just going to be a constant reminder of to what you've lost, not, oh, look, it's back. You know, the Pac-12 without USC, without UCLA, without Stanford, Cal, and Oregon. Like, I'm sorry, that shit just, that without Washington, without Arizona, that's not the Pac-12. It's not. So stop it. Call it something else. Call it the Big Blue. Call it the West Coast. Well, I guess you can't call it the West Coast Conference. That's taken. The WCC is going to be upset about that. But I don't think you should call it the Pac-12 because it's not. Regular Ryan says the new Pac-12 will be like a Toys R Us that exists as a part of Macy's. Yeah, seriously. It's going to be like when you're in an airport and you want to go ahead and get a Pete's Coffee or something. And you got a Pete's Coffee gift card in your wallet. And you take it out and you want to use it. And they're like, oh, we're sorry. We don't accept the Pete's Coffee. What are you talking about? This is a Pete's Coffee. You don't accept Pete's Coffee discounts? You don't accept gift cards at a Pete's? And that's when they'll tell you, well, we're really not a Pete's. We just lease the signage. So we look like a Pete's, but we're an independent operator that's not really a Pete's. Oh, so why even call yourself Pete's then? Why confuse people if you're not really going to be the Pac-12? What, are you going to call yourself the Conference of Champions when all your champions are now in different conferences? You know, Boise State has entered the Conference of Champions, everybody. Yay. Is Boise State in? I don't know. The Pac-12 has turned into the box keg of cheap wine. Yeah. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. Let me stick up for boxed wine for a minute. You can still get really drunk and have a good time and actually find something that is unoffensive to your palate in a boxed wine. But let's not pretend it's Burgundy directly from France. I'm sure there'll be a lot of good football and basketball and games played in the future, if you're going to call it Pac-12 conference, but let's not pretend it's the Pac-12. Yet so much has changed. So much is so radically different now than it was just a handful of years ago. tinkering with the NCAA tournament and changing that right now. To me, it would just be a huge mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. Again, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. Speaking of history, here we go. Kind of an interesting day in history, too, if you don't mind me saying. First of all, happy 70th birthday to Jimmy Smits. What, L.A. Law? He was on Law and Order. He's in one of the best Saturday Night Live skits ever with Bob Costas. Jimmy Smits, happy birthday. You're 70. Maybe our greatest living actor, Tom Hanks, is 69 today. Courtney Love, 61 years old. I think she had Kurt Cobain killed. Watched the documentary Soaked in Bleach. She might have actually done it. 61, Courtney Love. Don't know about her. Jack White turns 50 today. Welcome to the club, Jack, and still not in the club, but coming. The Wonder Years clearly now behind him from The Princess Bride, and then not really much else since then. Fred Savage turns 49 years old today. If that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what will. Fred Savage, 49 years old. Let's see. News traveled slower back then than it does today. So even though it was the 4th of July in 1776, George Washington today in 1776 ordered the Declaration of Independence to be read out loud to the members of the Continental Army in New York, New York for the very first time. And that's the first time they heard of it. So there you go. Couldn't just press send on that email. Here's who we're playing for now, everybody. No, you had to go out and read it to everybody. Today in 1868, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution was ratified, ensuring that African Americans and ex-slaves born in the United States guaranteed full citizenship and all persons in the United States due process of law. Again, interesting times we're living in. And I don't want to get political and I don't want to offend anybody, but let me ask an honest question. If being born in America, if birthright citizenship isn't what makes you American, what does? Why am I American? Because I was born in America. Anyone born in America is an American, no matter what your parents are, where they're from. What could possibly make you or qualify you as American if being born on the soil isn't it? Like, to me, that is just a full non-starter in terms of what are we talking about over here? What are we talking about? Okay. Today in 1877, the first ever Wimbledon. The Wimbledon Tennis Championships began at the All England Club. Strawberries and cream served today in 1877. We jump forward to 1933, where today something very important here in Northern California started to happen for the very first time. Today in 1933, construction began on the Oakland Bay Bridge in California. It would open 4 years later on May 29th in 1937, but construction on the bridge started today. Believe it or not, the concrete pour on the San Francisco side of the bridge is the largest concrete pour in the history of the United States. More concrete is there in that anchorage, in that leverage point in the bridge than there is in the Hoover Dam. Again, if useless information could be used for profit. This is how I used to make a living. Let's see. Today in 1955, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets became the first ever rock and roll single to hit #1 on Billboard's pop charts. Rock around the clock tonight. There you go. It's a great song. You play it today and still enjoy it. Today in 1962, Andy Warhol's Campbell Soup Cans exhibition opened. I never really got that. People are like, oh, that's pop art. I'm like, okay, it's a Campbell Soup can. Anything else there? Well, look, he does the faces, but they're all in different pastel colors. Okay. Thank you, Andy Warhol. More important than any of that, more important than Campbell's soup cans being painted by Andy Warhol. Today in 1981, Donkey Kong was officially released, created by Nintendo. And not only was Donkey Kong our first look at Donkey Kong, it was our first look at the character of Mario, who would go on to star in his own series of video games, if you don't mind me saying, for Nintendo. But Donkey Kong today in 1981, there you go. What else we got? What else we got today? I know we don't normally do movies, but there are 3 movies that opened today that were all big movies, I think, in our lives. Today in 1982, Tron opened in theaters. Tron was a visual experience that we had never even seen before. Computer animation in a film did not exist until we had Tron. Weird story, not the best movie, but man, it sure looked cool. And those light cycles, that maze race that those were in, when I was a little kid, I thought those were so cool. Today in 1999, American Pie came out. Hopefully the only thing you did when it comes to American Pie was go see it in the theater. You didn't actually go into an apple pie. But American Pie was a very funny movie. Gave us Stifler's mom. Today in 2004, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy was released. And I got to tell you, still a great movie, still hysterical almost the entire way through it. No matter how many times you see it, there's always a little something new in there that you catch on to through all the rewatches. And then maybe the single greatest fall from grace in terms of hysterical original to sequel, because the second Anchorman should have never made it out of the editing room. Halfway through editing that movie, someone should have come in and said, let's not do this. That's how bad this is. Today, in 1995, the Grateful Dead performed for the very last time in their original form with Jerry Garcia. They played the second of 2 concerts at Soldier Field in Chicago, and Jerry would die the following month. I was not at either of those final 2 Grateful Dead shows. I was at the Deer Creek show just a week and a half before, where there was a riot. When I got to Chicago the day after the Grateful Dead left, it was for a Pearl Jam show at Soldier Field. And for whatever reason, Pearl Jam's stage didn't make it or had a problem getting to Soldier Field. So Pearl Jam played on the stage that the Grateful Dead left for them to play on. So I didn't get to see the last Grateful Dead show, but I did get to see the last Grateful Dead stage, Pearl Jam performing on it. God. I remember Jerry dying, man. That was a big deal for me. Today in 2001, the British TV series The Office debuted. That was huge. It put Ricky Gervais on the map. Stephen Marchant became a huge member of the entertainment world in that one moment. And then, of course, it would go on to spawn The Office in America, which, is one of our great sitcoms. There's no denying it. I was never a huge Office guy, but it's got its place. There's no doubt. Finally, for you here today in history, today in 2002, Bud Selig did more to prove himself the most feckless, just totally useless major league commissioner maybe ever, when, fearing that there wouldn't be enough eligible players to continue, Bud Selig stopped the All-Star game in the 11th inning with the score tied 7-7 and declared it a tie. Hey, it's not anyone else's fault but those managers that they managed their pitchers that way. What a shame that was. Like, tell me you don't understand what you're doing here as commissioner of this league. Could there have been anyone more ill-prepared to handle the steroid era if they didn't know how to handle an all-star game? I didn't like Bud Selig. I sure don't like Rob Manfred. And Major League Baseball, I would be a better commissioner than the guys you got doing the job, and there is no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Thank all of you for watching today. Boy, no doubt about how delicious the sandwiches are at Ike's. Get yourself one for lunch today. If you're ordering for the office this week, next week, check out Ike's Catering and join that Love Rewards program. Our good friends at the Dubliner, they got their doors open in West Portal for you. Just step off Muni and right into the Dubliner West Portal. You'll be happy that you did, and thank you for stepping back into the Plus, as always, here on a what is it? We got a hump day, Humo day, baby. Thank you very much. SGA says, I binge watched all episodes of The Office. I got to tell you, I really didn't get through The Office until the pandemic. That's when I watched The Office in its entirety. And I also watched Parks and Recs in its entirety during the pandemic. I like Park and Recs more than I do The Office, just personally. Anyways, oh my gosh, only 39 likes today. Everyone lean in, hit a like. It was a little group gathering today of the regulars. Good to see you. Again, man, that baseball thumbnail. There you go. That's your problem right there, commissioners of baseball. I put a baseball thumbnail on YouTube. It guarantees that I'll have a fraction of the audience had I done anything. I could have put a Valkyrie logo up and probably gotten a better audience for this one today. So that's a problem, baseball, that you have. But it's not a problem for me because we get to hang out every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11 West Coast time, 2 o'clock East Coast time. We'll be back tomorrow with our good friend Sam Batesh. And again, keep on looking out for that Warren Sharp video. It'll be a doozy when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. Like, subscribe, my good friends. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.